My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow, Scotland, and I wanted to be able to share more and more of my art practice here in my art studio. So I've been trying to figure out ways to get to talk to you guys and engage with you guys and just to show you what I get up to. There's nothing structured. This is Monday. This is one of the last Mondays in May, and I'm trying to think of the date. It's the 19th, I think, 19th. And I just wanted to set you up and see if you can follow me around the studio. So let's hope I don't get this all wrong. Let's turn it around so you can have a look at the studio. So this is what it looks like right now. So I'm just gonna set you up. My tripod actually is my selfie stick, but it has been having some issues, so hopefully it won't be too much of a problem. I was trying to consider if I should do this portrait or landscape. So yeah, let me do it in a way that I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna turn you around. So yeah, I wanted to show you what I would get up to today. So sometimes in the studio, what I do is I get some places tidied, like this area here needs to get tidied. Currently cannot access my printer, so I'm consistently going around trying to figure out how to use my space, how to make it more, to flow more, and what I want to do in the studio as well. So this area here, I have my, what would I say? I should turn you around actually. I'm gonna keep flipping this around. So this area here, I have my clay artwork, and yeah, I really enjoyed making these pieces. They are supposed to be like a jewelry tray, and I basically just created this organic shapes and have carved these drawings into them and used this tool here. So I was trying to make sure that I can get myself, you know, my style into clay work, and I've been trying to figure out how to do it, and I love drawing. So I've got to put these in to my friend's kiln, and then they are going to be going through the bisque stage. And once that happens, then I will be able to use a color on them. So here's another one. So I just want to take my time today to share what I have in the studio and see what else I get up to. So I've been turning them, flipping them around so that they dry on the back and the front. And so this one is another design. It'll be really interesting to see how these turn out. I am hoping that I figure out the color I want to use on these for when I come to glaze them, so that they are not, what would the word be? So that they're very generic and they would fit into any environment, you know, like any decor environment. This one, I just decided to stay with a floral. So I've drawn a flower here and some other foliage, some leaves. And I've tried to keep it simple so that I can start seeing what works, what kind of organic shapes I can use. This one, I decided to add one of my signature owls that I love to draw. And it's really interesting with clay because you have to think about the marks you make on it and how that might work out. Oop, that's my echo. I don't want to say her name because she'll come back on, but her name starts with an A, so she was just making a noise there. But yeah, so this area I've decided is going to be my clay area, and I keep changing my mind as to what I'm doing with the different parts of my studio, but as I keep working in it, then things do change. I wanted to share here some of my dragons that I created a while ago with air dry clay. If I can get my camera in here a little bit. So yeah, I created these dragons with air dry clay, and so I've got them here displayed right by my clay area. Let me just get my camera correct. So I've got this one here as well. They're not very clear. They're quite fragile, but I had fun creating these little characters, and then I put some glass eyes in there in the design as well. So my son, it was really fun because my son helped me to design the names for these because they had different ecosystems. It's a lot of fun. So all my clay stuff I decided would be here, and I will work on it. You know, my chair as well, I have put this chair here so it's on wheels. I can wheel it back and forth to the different areas, and just get on with working in the studio. Back here, if I go back round, I have right by the door, I have my oil painting area. So let's see if I can put this camera down. It's gonna be fun working on this. I don't know if you'll be able to see me when I do this. So hoping this doesn't fall over. But here's my oil painting area. And actually I was supposed to, did I clean that brush? So my oil brushes, I don't treat them very well. But what I wanted to do is to have these spaces so that I can come and just add to them whenever I feel like it. So let's see. I've got the red here. That would be fun to add a red. So I wanted everything available so that I could just turn up and start working on areas. Let me turn you around so that I make sure that I can see myself in this. Right, can I see myself? Let's see how. I'd have to sit down probably. As I said, I wanted the chair to be able to move around the space so that I can film whatever way I need to film. So let me see if I put you here. When I am painting, because I am right-handed, I find that I have to put the camera on the side that my hand will not block when I'm painting. So, I mean, usually I have other arms I can put to actually get this bit more visible. So yeah, I'll just come in and just start adding to the painting. And I'm trying to be very relaxed about it. So having this area to be able to paint and play around with. And I'm trying not to be too scared about how I add things to the painting as well. So I'll just sit down and start working on it. And trying to just figure out how to mix and not be too precious. And leaving my marks as well. So just having fun. I think if I have some yellow here, I could get some peachy colors. I'm really trying to make sure I lean into my my color choices. I am realizing I don't have my apron on right now. It's on the back of my seat. I'll just put this on so I don't get anything on me. So yeah, this is my oil painting corner. And I could just go ahead, sit down and start painting. On the clay area, I could just go ahead and start working on clay. And I'll show you the other areas I have in the studio as well in a minute. But I just want to have a little bit of fun with this for a few minutes. Let's see. So I wanted some of the yellow. So I'm just going to add some of that. And start. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I should do that with the stag should be also very colorful as well. So yeah, this is a lot of fun, just leaning into creating work and not being too precious about it. I'm trying to have fun with all my different mediums. And I'm finding that there's certain brushes I like to use and that have different results from them. Different colors. And let's see. So yeah, just having fun painting. If this is your first time here, my name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and I love to share my artwork here in my studio. Let's see, I've got a light here. Is that gonna help? And this is quite tilted. I'm just gonna see if I have another, no, don't have another level for it. This is as good as it gets for this. Just check the color. This is like, I'm just testing whatever colors. I like the purple here, so, but let's see. I'm gonna use some of my fabrics that I have here for painting, my oil paint. So yeah, I have to tidy the environment. It's very, actually I just remembered I have some fabric in this tin here. So I'm not gonna start a new one. I've been storing my fabrics in, oh, I almost painted my blind there, in these tins, so that, because I keep hearing things about oil paint and combustion and things like that. So I've been putting my fabrics that I would clean my brush off in this biscuit tin, and then going from there. So now I'm trying to think of the colors I could bring in here and be as free as possible. Some mixing in. Right. So I keep getting ideas and then changing my mind. This is quite hard. So I want to bring in some greens, and I'm just gonna be free with this and totally change the whole dynamic of this. One thing I've been thinking about recently in my artwork is to not to restrict myself too much. I feel like I'm overthinking things, and I want to get back to the level of playing so that I can just paint and enjoy myself. So that is what I'm pushing towards right now. And having this oil painting area, I'm hopefully gonna have that where I can relax and just paint away with oil paint. I will add more about when this finishes to the description. But so I've been saying I am Beatrice Ajayi. I have my YouTube channel here, and I want to start sharing more. So I am gonna have fun with that, taking you along. So let's see how far I get on this. I was thinking maybe an hour on this, but we'll see. I think what keeps trapping me with oil paint is that I keep thinking about my quick drying medium, which I think is limiting me, so I'm not mixing my paints as the texture that I feel I would use. I feel like my texture should be something like, you know, quite buttery, but when I mix in the medium, I feel like I'm mixing too much medium in, so it is gonna limit me. But I'm using quite a small brush, I feel, for this, but I want to be able to get a variation of things, so I'm trying to see how I'm mixing my oil paint and take my time with that. But as I said, I want to add some greens. This one's going to be like greens, yellows, quite a celebration of colors. And being free and being abstract. I love working on abstract art. So that is what I am looking at here, is just trying to figure out how to add my stags in with my florals and keeping that abstraction as well. So mixing blues, getting some purples in here. And I set the time so that when I look back at that timeline, I'll see how much I've done in the painting. So fun with this. I wanted to make a kind of a turquoisey, a blue. Anyway, let's see what this does. That looks like a turquoisey blue. I like those drips, but let's see. It's not quite turquoise, but so I'm trying to remind myself to kind of go with a loose, a dry, what would I call it? Not dry, drawing. An approach like I'm drawing. I like that pink in there. And add in shapes. I was watching something the other day on composition. So like I like these colors here. I'm trying to carry certain colors across wherever I see them so that they are not alone on only one part of the canvas. So I'd say this is the most amount of oil paint I have put on my on a piece of artwork for a while, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm looking at trying to fill in the background. Gosh, it's so yummy, the colors on this. Let's see, some blue over here. What other colors can I add? It's very colorful. The blue. It's that one, so there's some red in there. Let's see. If I just paint with it, how long does it take to dry? Because this is right. Some yellow and some blue, and then some like this, a bit of brown. So some of these areas I'm thinking, I'm gonna wash some of this off my brush and think about what other colors, where is it I'm going with this? What would I want to do, like composition wise? I am thinking that the body of the stag is going this way, so I might want to do something to maybe lighten that. Let's try lightening this area down here and see what happens. So some more yellow. It's like a peachy color, peachy color. Let's see, some orange kind of over here. Right, let's see. Trying to think of how this is. Can I see the actual shapes here that I'm looking for? So I'm trying to outline where the horns are here. I don't want to do blendy, but yeah, so there's some areas that I think I would wait to let actually, so that's what it looks like now from what I started with. So that's really interesting. So I've still got some colors here that I might use to lighten certain areas just to get more colors moving. I've been wanting to use oil paint with my my stags for a while, like a bit more than I've been doing before. So I'm really enjoying this. I don't necessarily want to cover everything. I could scratch through some areas and just trying to pass some colors through. And having this hint of floral and then kind of blending it in so it's not very specific. So I'm trying to think of where to add. these are all still wet. Let's see. So let's see. I'm trying to get this area to be very dark again. I don't want to use black, so that's why I'm using like red and ultramarine, like pyrrole red, ultramarine, and that is what I'm using to kind of highlight the darker areas. I like some of the marks on it, so I don't want to play around with it too much. But then I have to kind of make the antlers stand out, so that is also key. I like this purple. I think under here I'm gonna put like for where the stag is. As I said, this is the oil painting area, and so it will stay here, and I won't come and, you know, play around with it, and it will dry to a certain like touch level. Then I'll come back and add some more to it. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I could do with the color I have on my brush. I like that area the way it is. So what I would do when I come back is lighten some more of those areas. I want to get the stag to stand out a bit more. Like right now, it looks okay, but I want it to be a bit more prominent. So that was fun, adding some colors to that and just trying to test out what it's like, not using too much of the dry, well, what do you call it again? The quick dry medium, and see if I prefer that, because I don't think I like the texture when I'm using it. It's too liquid. I don't like it. I might be more of a, what do you call it again? When you paint straight away. I'm trying to remember. It's almost, it's down the tip of my tongue where it'll come back at some point. I'll probably just shout it out. For when you basically just paint very, I mean, straight away with the thick paint. So I'm going to scratch into it and see if that leaves some other marks showing through, and to get some of that abstracted look that I like. So I'm using oil paint and then I'm scratching into it because I want that interaction between the abstraction. So now just wipe my brush off after that. So I'm gonna let this dry and then I will come back. So I am going to move on to my next space. So I've shown you already my clay area. This is an oil paint area. We've just worked on this a little bit, which was fun. And I'm going to get us to go and have a look at some other stuff. So just raise you up a bit and stand up. So yeah, that's what that looks like. It was a lot of fun to paint. I enjoyed that a lot. So I'm gonna let it dry, and as I said, this is my oil painting area. I've got my palette here. This is where I was using, and these are the paints I was mixing, and my cleaning liquid here. which is non-toxic or is odorless. And then I've got where I had my fabrics to clean my brush. So yeah, I really like the way this looks. That's very colorful. And as I said, I'm trying to introduce the floral element into my artwork. So that's what that is. Yeah, and so here I have mainly oil painting things. I've got some of my greeting cards, handmade cards there in the corner. I'll probably need to move them before they get stained. But I like the way that looks. And with oil paint, I know it's going to give me a different way of approaching things because it takes time to dry. I can blend a lot easier. So let's see, I'm going to turn you around, right, so that I can see you. But yeah, so this area here, this is supposed to be my desk. I need to tidy this up at some point. In fact, I still have my oranges that I've not drank. Let me just have a bit of this. So yeah, clay area, oil painting area here. I need to clean this up. This is like gonna be my printing area. That is my printer. It's got different items I need to find places for. My camera here, my camcorder, which I do use sometimes, but it's just so much easier using my phone. And I need to clear all this out. So these are some other oil paintings I did earlier in the week. Or was it last week? So I'm letting those dry as well. This one I started partially. I'm letting that dry. Not sure where it's gonna go, as in the direction. But yeah, I've been painting. So I have my area here, which is basically like a little space for me to be able to use my easel. So on this easel, I have a whole range of artwork that I'm working on. Let me put you down. Let's turn you around again so that I can see what's going on. So what I'm going to do is put some of these lights on my desk. Actually, let me show you what I'm doing. So on my desk here, I have this painting area as well. This desk is a flexi desk, so it can go up, it can come down, and I have a whole range of tools right now here. I'm just turning the lights on so that this area is a lot brighter. That is a bit of a warm light, so I'll just make that a bit whiter. And so this area I use for filming. So I have my gadgets here, the arms for filming downwards. And so I have some more of those videos on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. I want to be able to actually do classes as well for you guys here on the channel, because I think it'll be so much fun to just spend time and to go through, you know, different things that I do to problem solve. So this piece here I'm starting to work on. I'm starting to do a lot of open airs, because I mean not open airs, open call art requests that people have around, so that I can start focusing my cell phone on specific projects and getting more visible. So I went last week to speak to a friend who I really admire, and she's very inspiring. And talking to her, and she was really, really helpful in the way she discussed how I should approach some things. So I'll be trying to do a lot more open calls. I've already applied to one, and I'll wait to hear back from that. But this other one wanted a piece of artwork that was 30 by 30. So I am currently working on that, and I wanted to play around with that a little bit this morning. The inspiration is water for that. So that's what I'm working on as well. So I'm not sure how bright it is here. I think it's bright enough. So I'm trying to do some kind of like with my woody pencils, crayons, and just mark making on it, and then I will go ahead and add some more paint. I think I had an idea yesterday of what I wanted to do with this, but that's completely gone now. But I've poured all sorts of, trying to use different tools on this as well. So as you can see, so this side here, this area I would call my acrylic area or my mixed media area. because I could kind of put some collage on this as well, because I do have my papers. So let's see. I have like these papers that what happens is whenever I paint, and if I think that I have too much paint on my actual artwork, I will bring these ordinary printing papers like for your computers, and I mean for your printers, and I will basically just put that on and take some of the colors off if I have excess paint. So I always have these sheets lying around. Almost falling over. Right, so I have these sheets that I've been doing some work on recently, and I just basically will tear them off and glue them on. So let me just see where my... So I think I want to use some parts of this and introduce something else into this art piece. Because like I said, the inspiration is water. So I'm going to add some of the darker areas in here first, and then look at other things. So the way we tear the paper as well is really important. If you want to keep the color visible, you have to pull the paper away from you like this side. Anyway, you practice it and you see what I mean, because then you won't get the white line like you would get on this bit, like that white line. So I didn't want the white line, so I've torn it in a very particular way. And let's see. Let's bring it closer. Closer. How much of it can I tilt? Okay, lower. Don't know how bright it is though. So I'm trying not to be in the light. So I'm going to glue this on somewhere, because my inspiration is supposed to be water. But do I want to use all of it? I don't think I do. And where is my spritz in? Let's see. Okay, got my water. I'm talking to myself mostly, but I've got this water that I basically will spritz the paper with. And we do that on the back so that it gets really soft. And then I've got my gel medium here. I think I'm gonna use my catalyst wedge and put some of that gel medium on it. So I'm trying to think where I want to put this, because I will lose some things if let me just see. I might just put it here. Let's see what happens. Can experiment. So I'm gonna put it here. So you put some of the gel medium on the front as well, like to seal in the paper. And let's squint, but that's gonna make me paint something over that in a particular way. So I've just added that on, gessoed that on. And then whatever other papers, I'm thinking of another. I wanted to bring like this area here. So it can just tear some bits. I'm just gonna add 2 areas. Gonna spritz this a bit. So while that's doing that, let me just get my catalyst wedge. We'll do that again. Right, where did I tell spitting this? I think it was about there, wasn't it? Somewhere. It's probably a different direction than what I originally planned, but hey. I'm trying to be really free with the way that I do my art and not stress too much about it, because there's so many combinations. And then I am actually missing my bright pink that I really like to use. Like I like to use a bright pink paint, and for some reason it has disappeared. It's gonna be somewhere on the floor that I can't see or something. But I am going to keep going. Oh yeah, also I wanted to show you some of my artwork that I've been working on recently as well. Like this one. So when I was talking about the stags, I also have like a whole plethora of artwork that I want to be able to make more visible, have them available for people to adopt. So like this one here, this is one of the pieces I've been working on. I really love these guys. There's two of them, different designs on them. I have scratched into it, like written into it with like, you know, marking it, kind of mark making. I have paint dripping, I have inks. And this is where I'm kind of going with my oil painting as well, is to have this little character kind of blended into his background a little bit, but then also a little bit more visible. And I just love the colors on this. And then thinking of a frame for this, I was trying to think if it should be a white frame or a black frame. Maybe a black frame, but I really love this character. And all I need to do now is actually varnish it, well, sign it and then varnish it. So that's what's happening with this one. And I've got a bigger one. And I painted these together with each other. So here's another one. So there's been paint poured on it. There's been scratches, layering. I didn't use any collage when I was going through this again, because there's so many different layers on it. But I love the way the pink is in this area. And that's what I'm trying to work out, is like the pink, you know, the paint, the way of layering and scratching and how we build the layers. That's what I'm trying to relax into. Like for this painting that I'm doing right now, is like relaxing into how I will build the layers. So let's see, how will I build the layers for this? So as I was saying, looking at the aspect of water. So like the mark making, I really like these drips here. So I'm gonna somehow, maybe near the final layers, bring in like this kind of drip and mark, because as I said, the inspiration for this is water. So I need to take my time and do that, because I love adding collages. There's so many marks on these. So I want to add like a blue. And so I have a pale blue somewhere that I'm looking for. So all these are all the nuances when we're painting in the studio. We're looking for our different equipment. So that's why I'm saying that I want to be able to make it more dynamic so that I can access my tools a lot better. So looking at this, I'm trying to think where I can add some of this blue, and it might not work. It might maybe try to add areas in, thinking of that whole idea of the fact that it's supposed to be inspired by water, and the tools that I could use to really, I've got my palette knives, or I've got like this wheel one here. So I'm just gonna use this and just roll it in and kind of make areas, you know, introduce themselves to each other, go over lines that are very obvious. You can also use modeling paste for this. Is it modeling paste or mold? I'm trying to think what it is. I'm gonna take some of this off with some paper as well. So I'm trying to tie it in, as I said, tie in the painting. So I'm gonna get another piece of paper, brand new one, and I'm gonna take some of this off. So I have them just back here, and I'm just gonna overlay that. and then take that off. Take maybe a bit extra off. So now we have some extra colors on it. And then I can scratch into it. I have different ones I could use. I think I'm going to use another palette, actually, not the one I was trying to do. Because you can have this and you can just scratch. You know, like you could just scratch a design into it. Let's see if I can get you closer to see this. So like here, I'm just going to scratch some marks. I don't know how much of it you'll see, through to seeing the color behind. And then we're kind of overlapping, blending. This is how, so my idea for this one is to do it water, is that some areas would be like, you know, like rain. Some areas will be like the flow of the river. Some will be like, you know, like thunderstorms or anything kind of to do with water is the ideas of what is in the back of my head. And if that impression is being created in an abstract way, then fine. So that is what I'm doing here. So as I said, more open calls to get myself specifically more focused on what I'm doing, like being more deliberate. I could give myself titles, but I think that it's fun trying to challenge myself working with other people's titles. So with this abstraction, it's taken its time. It will take time to get somewhere that it can be more articulate and I can understand what's going on. But until then, I just keep going. So if I wanted to add drips to this now, because also I don't only work like this, I'll also work flat as well. So that is another way that I approach my artwork. So I'll lay this on the floor and I'll work with it. I'm trying to work more on the floor actually, so that I can be doing more exercise in general. But also just because you get a different effect, because if the paint is either on the floor, you know, your painting's on the floor or on the table, that flat, you get a different experience of how your paint reacts than if it's dripping down. So right now I'm looking for other inspirations because I've gotten as far as I think I can get with what I have. But I want to bring in some of my older, like I have things I created while I was at uni a long time ago. Like I have this book that I made. I think I had a whole bunch of papers that I'd created pieces on, and I basically collated them together in this book. So I have a whole range of inspirations I can get. Like I could decide to put spirals on this. So I could find somewhere, and that could be like a pool of water. So that's a good idea. So that one, I also love to do a lot of really tiny scribbles. So that might be something that happens. So now, right now, I'm trying to think how to make this pool of water. And I was thinking about value the other day, actually, and I've not got as much black on this. So, right, let me just see. I'm thinking I might put this on the floor and just make some marks, or on the table. Which one? The table, can I balance this here? I could balance this here. Let's go over here. See if I turn you around so you can see what I've done. So I have, just move this. I've got different things on the floor here. This is what makes me understand what I need to do in my studio. I have a lot of things I need to move. But yeah, so I've balanced this here and I'm going to try and make a spiral. This could go very, very wrong because this is ridiculous what I'm doing. But I'm going to try and make a spiral here with, I've got some black in here. I don't know if it will work. Actually, I also have some black ink that I've been using, but I think I've finished most of that. So let's see what happens with this. If it ends up pouring down, oh well, right. So where am I going to actually put this spiral that I'm thinking about? That's what I need to think of next. Where I think I'm going to test this paint first because I don't want it to just pour out and then it's not a good consistency. Let's see what it looks like. So I want to do like a spiral. So that's not a bad consistency actually. Right, let's try that. A little bit of memory muscle and see what happens. Now it's going to start trying to drip because it is tilted. So I'm going to put this down on the floor over there. I'll let that dry. Is it flat enough? Yeah, sort of. So I'll put that down so it can dry. Let's see if you can see it. Just there. That's where it is. Gonna dry. Let's see what else I have on my... So on my easel, I also have this one that I could work on. So let's see. I'm trying to see if it's bright enough. I want to make sure it is. So I have many different tools and things in the studio because I want to be able to move around, like I'm saying. So this one I was working on yesterday as well. And because I was discussing the whole aspect of value and of having something that helps with also composition, I just poured some of that paint. I think this was ink. And then I worked on this. So we can see what I can do with this with some paints. I like some areas. I don't like some other areas. But I just want to be free with it. So I think I really enjoy working flat. So I might need to clear my table and work with it like this table here. So I think I'm going to have to move some stuff away from here. So if it's your first time joining me here, my name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and this is me just working away in my art studio. And I am trying to figure out how my layout should be for my work practice. So that is what you're seeing here, where some of the things I'm doing are working cohesively and they're helping, and other things are not helping so much. So I've got my like trolleys here and I keep thinking back and forth, I need to make them more accessible. Like now that I want to clear this table and I've got other things I'm not using in this trolley, so I'm gonna have to move things away from there. So this is all the stuff that happens when you start working on artwork, when you get inspiration to work. You have to start being more, what's the word, organized in how we do things. So got a lot of paints there below me. So this is actually like a varnish. I don't need it beside me. This is dried. So I'm trying to make space so that I can put my canvas down. I have some paints that are missing, so I'll need to look for them. Some colors I want to use. So yeah, this is what it's like working away in the studio. You have to organize yourself, clear things away when you don't need them. Let's see, what's this glazing medium? I might want to use that. So I've overlapped onto my office area, which is not necessarily what I want. So yeah, having a studio and keeping it tidy is not easy when you get carried away with your inspiration. So I'm trying to clear this table so that I can use it, as I said, for painting. And I've got so many different paints that are running out and I want to use them up as well. These are all the reasons why I will sometimes use the colors I use. It's just because I want to finish that paint off, because if not, it's going to dry out. And I don't like to waste any paint whatsoever. So yeah. So being confident in your space, knowing what works for you and what doesn't, it's like it takes time to practice and to be thinking about what you want to do. So I've got a lot of things I need to tidy. I need to basically be able to put what I have on this table over there when I need to do it so that I can get to work. So probably shouldn't be putting my podcast and stuff on this. Should be putting my podcast and stuff on this table. No, I think the volume on my camera here is fine for using for recording. So I've used up a lot of my paints. I think I'm going to use that one. So yeah, this is basically what you'd find me doing in the studio, is just tidying, painting. If I want to do something, I have to move things around and reorganize myself. I'm also trying not to get other areas even more untidy. So that is kind of important as well. So what I'm going to do is, I'll see if I can fit it onto this table now. I'll keep these here and see. Right, let's see if it'll fit. So I've tidied it all off as much as possible. I have it on this plastic, but I don't think I'm going to use that. It's on this kind of Velcro, no, not Velcro, what is this? Polystyrene. I'm just going to put this on the table and see how much space I have. And look at that, it's really good space for it. So I could just get started on it straight away. I've still got some of the tapes I have on the back of it, so that will help to keep it still. And then I'll just get into painting. So let's see if I can show you what it is that I've got there. I think I'll move you actually, so hopefully you can see from the top a bit better. Let me see if I put, don't want this kind of tilting and doing some nonsense, so I'm going to try and see that I get this still in the landscape way. I'm trying to be very flexible with my recording here. Let's see. So trying to understand how to work with this is hard. So this is what I've got here. I think it's near the edge, almost there. Let me move this up. I won't move the camera, I'll just move stuff. So I want to get it as far in as possible. Don't know how bright this is, right? Right, let's turn you around. I'm trying to get this light over us. So this is what I've got. So let me see if I can get some colors down before I finish for the day, because I don't really like the way it is. So trying to work out if the light is enough on this. So this area here, I don't really like that very much. I'm trying to think how what I can do with this. Just sketch some. There's some areas I like, and I think my thing is trying to work out what I want to do with this. The way that I'm looking at it is probably not the way that I would want to do this, because I would want to have, let's see, do I want to add black? No, let's do some of this blue. And then the tools I'm gonna use, I'm gonna try different tools I've not been using. Right, so this is Persian blue, and I've got this palette knife here, which I've not used for a long time. Let's try this one and go into it with this, scratch into it. What other one do I want to use? Right, I might spread this color around a little bit as well. Maybe some over here. And then I might spray some water on this to try and blend it into some other areas. I like that, but so I'm just putting the colors straight on. There's some green coming in here, mixing. Ooh, I like that. I think I want to add also some white. Unless I get a pink, I'm trying to think. So this is how you just start working on something, and it can change so much by the time that, right, I'm gonna get some white, I think, if I can find it. But then do I want to get creamy white or white white? Because that has changed a little bit. Let's see. Or, right, I'll get the white first because it's a creamy white that I have mixed with some yellow as well. So let's see how much of this. Oh no, this is the blue. That'll happen in another bit. Let's see. Oh, this is white actually. I keep going back and forth. It's whatever I'm picking up. I think so. That's white. And I'm gonna basically start mixing in some colors in some areas. I'm trying to think where I want to do this. And to bring in some kind of a design into this. Like arm movements, so many things are involved in working on art. And then you add it somewhere else, carry that color somewhere else. The yellow, trying to think. So this looks almost like a floral there. Right, let's just put a little bit of a. So sometimes I will put in kind of a geometric color combination into areas, like squares and rectangles, and just cut into the organic shapes and just see what happens. So it's gonna take a while to build all these. To make it look deliberate, your marks look deliberate. So you start building a layer, you see something, and then you start finalizing it and making a conversation. So I'm blending these areas to make it like a deliberate color block. And this is like a shaper, a catalyst shaper with a handle. So then some areas you will scratch into. And I'm trying to think of, so some of these layers as well you can let dry, and then you can come in with some new bits. I'm trying to carry this down to this area. And this is like, and let's see. So some places it's just gonna blend it when you do that. Let's do this. So it's gonna have a blue contingent on this, but I can push some areas back later. So some turquoise, let me see. I think it's to let it dry actually. Then I can come in with some more. I can, like this green here, I am almost finished with it. So I'm going to just give it a splash somewhere. I'm trying to think of where I can overlay the splash effect and do something with it. That could be interesting. Like maybe have a drip somewhere. So if I did it around here, just dripping, drip, 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 splashing it out. So I'll put this in the bin now because this one's finished. So yeah. Start playing around and blending in some areas, not everywhere. What other color could I add into this that would, without blue, blue and what? I have some of the blue still on my so it doesn't look very, very interesting necessarily right now. When you take away the tapes on the edge, when you also add more, you take the time basically. I'm not worried about this at the moment. I want to add some other colors. I need to just basically put my painted tools down and go onto another piece of artwork. That's what I need to do. So I need to let this dry. I was trying to bring in some colors that will be there for me to use later on, because I still have some colors on my tool here. So I'm just bringing in some colors that will help me later on. It looks messy. It isn't as fine. There's areas I love these drips. I'm gonna let some of them drip. I'm gonna spray the ink and let them drip. I'm gonna move it away and put it back where it was, and it's going to do its thing. So yeah, let's see. So basically this is what it now looks like. Not easy to see the details, but it has changed quite a bit. So let me see if I turn it around this way. So it has changed, and it has got a lot of things you can pull in and out of this, and this is the green dripping. And yeah, I am going to leave it for now, but yeah, thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. I am just going to keep on tidying and let that dry, then see what else I get up to in the studio. But I have had fun sharing some time with you, and you've been able to see me paint like this one here with the oil paint. I really enjoyed this one, so it's going to be fun. Maybe I'll give it 2 days and then I'll come back to working on it again. But as I said, my oil painting area, my clay area, I'll probably need to tidy this desk area so that I can actually get some stuff done. This is how I moved my paints from this table. In order to clear it, I put everything here. This is not ideal. This is supposed to possibly go onto like these trolleys, so I need to look at what needs to be in that and maybe move them into some of the storage here. Then that will work. And as I said, I really love these paintings that I shared with you earlier on in the live. But thank you so much for joining me on my YouTube channel today and seeing what I got up to. I'm going to figure out the lighting, because I have this light in here, but usually I face it up to the ceiling. I'm not sure if that's better. It might be better than trying to point it straight at this, because my body, I think, gets in the way, so it's not as bright. But I will try and see if that works better facing it at the actual ceiling. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I am now going to make sure I don't step on any paintings I put on the floor, and also just get back to work. So I'll see you guys. I'm hoping that I am getting comfortable with sharing with you guys what happens in the studios. And I was thinking maybe to start the series as Monday lives. So basically after the school drop off, after I have breakfast, then I would come in here and share with you what I'm getting up to in the day. And also having the different areas is going to help me be a bit more organized with the way that I share here on the channel. So yeah, I hope it was okay and it wasn't too wobbly or anything with my filming. I am trying to figure out how to do this. I'm currently holding it with one hand. But thank you so much for joining me in my studio today. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and I will see you guys next Monday for the Monday Live. But through the week on my YouTube channel, I do have other artwork that is going on, other things that I'm sharing. I also have what I call snapshots, art studio snapshots. So that is just sharing whatever I'm doing that specific day that I thought was of interest to share. And if I want to say anything about it in particular. And then on Sundays, I usually share a bit more of a painting in my sketchbook session or whatever paper that I feel like I want to work on or substrate. But yeah, I will see you guys next time for another Monday live. So what time is it right now, actually? I'm not sure what the time. Oh, let me just check my watch. That would be helpful. It is currently going to 11, quarter to 11, I think I have it as. So yeah, I've spent a bit of time, over an hour here with you guys. So yeah, I will see you the next time, but please do subscribe to the channel as well so that you get notified when anything's going on. And I will see you guys another time. Also check out my website as well, because I'll put all those details in the descriptions below. As of the time that I'm recording this, I haven't put any descriptions, but I will do. I'm gonna edit that once it is available on my site. So, but you can check out my other videos. They have descriptions on them about what else I have here on the channel. Ooh. Yeah, so I would get more used to this. It's really still me being brave coming on here to share with you guys what I do in the studio. And I encourage you as well to find something creative and do it. I think as human beings, we are supposed to be creative. We're supposed to find that thing that sparks our joy and keeps us kind of going. So creativity in whatever sphere you're interested in. It could be dancing. In fact, before I came on here and everything like that, I had a little bit of a dance to some music as well, which I really enjoy. So anything. And I have other ideas for things I want to share on the channel as well, which is like, I do like to write. So that is something I'm trying to think of how to introduce to you guys here. That I do have a novel on Amazon as well, you know, for publishing, self-publishing, indie publishing. I do have my book there. So the details I put below will have all of those things. And I'm currently trying to work on my next two because it's a trilogy. So I like doing that. So I'm trying to start sharing some of the things that I like doing with you guys here on the channel a bit more, and it's all in the creative sphere, and you're not locked into one way of being creative. I was trying to have different YouTube channels for the different things I was interested in, and I'm only one human being. I cannot spread myself that far, so I'm gonna have to think of titles that will be interesting, that I can bring those videos to this channel and I can share with you guys all in a one space, but kind of collated in a bite-sized chunk way of engaging with you guys. So see you guys next time. Bye for now. And please do subscribe. It'll be awesome, because then more people can see what we get up to here in the studio together. And also, please do send your comments if you have any questions about my channel, about what I've been talking about, and about what I'm sharing. And yeah, I'm going to get back to work. Bye. Bye-bye. Let's see, how do I switch this off?